Give the judges another shot at it? Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
This isn't just about one fight. It points to a pattern of behavior that has haunted boxing for decades. It's called A-side bias, the unspoken rule that the more famous or marketable fighter often gets the benefit of the doubt from the judges. Canelo Alvarez, with his massive fan base and lucrative promotional deals, is the perfect example of an A-side. He's the cash cow, the golden goose. According to Teddy Atlas, that status carries a dangerous advantage. Judges, whether intentionally or not, are influenced by the business side of boxing. They know which fighter the promoters want to win and which one will generate more money down the line. In close fights, that knowledge can sway their scoring. Atlas views the scorecards from the Crawford fight as yet another example of this bias in action. Even in a bout that wasn't close, the judges seemed determined to keep the A-side relevant and protect the brand.
Canelo, I think I'm happy with Cheatham. But if I'm with Crawford, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, wait a minute, hold on. This guy had, he had Canelo over Bivol.
No,
he had Bivol over Canelo. That's why I meant to say. I'm sorry. He had it that close. How he had
115, 113. Now listen, there's another judge on this card who will be officiating this fight, Crawford versus Canelo, Steve Weisfeld, who also scored at 115, 113. I've more singled out Tim Cheatham because of the inconsistency.
Because of his past record.
Yeah, I didn't think Loma lost to Haney. That was one of them. I just talked about the Zoo versus Fandora, number 1. That one, unbelievable. Richardson Hitchens versus Lemos, way too wide. Just recently, we watched a great fight, Figueroa versus Joet Gonzalez. Way too wide for Figueroa.
If you're looking for a clear example, Teddy Atlas has one name, Tim Cheatham. The moment his name was announced, Crawford's team grew uneasy. Why? Because Cheatham has a history of controversial scorecards that defy logic. Take the Dimitri Bivol versus Canelo fight. Bivol won clearly, yet Cheatham scored at 115-113, just one round shy of a draw. That score raised eyebrows and cast doubt on his impartiality. And it wasn't a one-off. Atlas pointed out other fights where Cheatham's scoring conveniently leaned toward the A-side, the fighter with more business value. To Atlas, assigning him to a fight of this magnitude was a red flag, proof that Crawford was facing an uphill battle even before the first bell rang. When someone like Atlas, who has spent his life in boxing, questions the judges, the issue runs deep. The Crawford versus Canelo superfight was marketed as one of the biggest events of the decade, but beneath the lights and spectacle, doubt lingered. And when the scorecards came, 116-112, 115-113, and 115-113, Atlas was furious. While the world celebrated a new undisputed super middleweight champion, he seethed, convinced he had just witnessed Crawford dominate only for the judges to minimize it.
The thing that bothered me, there's only one thing that really did bother me, and that's why I don't want a rematch, I'll be honest. I've been in this business 50 years, too long to fool myself. Those judges should be really, they got to look in the mirror to have it that close. There's no way it was that close. Thank God he dominated. Because otherwise we might be here talking a whole different thing and really going nuts. And I would definitely break this thing.
Yes, you would. I believe you.
And maybe that. And I'd owe money. And I don't care. I would pay it. But at the end of the day, that's why I don't want to see it again. He dominated, and the judges had it that close.
Yeah.
Give the judges another shot at it. Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
Atlas wasn't the only one outraged. Former NFL star and outspoken personality Chad Ochenko voiced the same disbelief, stunned that the numbers didn't reflect what everyone had just seen. On his show, he said bluntly, "There's no way you thought that fight was that close." He agreed with Atlas. It was pure dominance. In his words, Bud dominated that fight. I'm talking dominated. He landed the cleaner shots, the harder shots. He was the more active fighter. To both men, the narrow scorecards didn't reflect the reality in the ring. For Ochenko, it was simple math. Crawford won at least 9 or 10 rounds. At worst, Bud lost 3 rounds, maybe 2, he said. To knowledgeable insiders, the conclusion was obvious. The official scores were fiction.
But that was a great display of boxing. And had Bud not made it so convincing, there's no way, ain't no way to judge, because I don't give a damn what they say. And no, I've never been a judge. I've never judged the fight officially. But that's not a 115, 113. That's not a 116, 12. If you watch that fight, there's no way you thought that those scores were that close. Bud dominated that fight. I'm talking about dominated. He landed cleaner shots. He landed the harder shots. He was active. Yeah, okay. So he followed him around the ring. Yeah, he was pressuring him. But guess what? Every time he come in there, he got slapped.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I really, really enjoy it. When it comes to boxing, when it comes to the sweet science, for those who know the game, who know the sport, and are not just casual fans of it, when it's done the right way, it's like art. It's like a puzzle. All you're doing is putting the pieces together. Whatever he does, I got something for that. Whatever you do, if he has something for that, you come back with something else. I mean, it's a beautiful thing when it's done the right way, and I really thoroughly enjoyed tonight's fight.
Bud won at least 9 to 10 of those rounds. Bud won 9 to 10 of those rounds. There's no way in hell, if you watched that fight, you thought Canelo won as many rounds.
Sutherland and Cheatham, they would be the first guys called into the office on Monday if a national czar came in and said, I'm going to start investigating this sport. I'm starting to look at the things that Teddy Atlas talked about and a lot of other people talked about. I'm going to start, and that a lot of fans talk about, that they're leaving the sport because of the bad judging and officiating. I'm going to start to look at it. And the two guys I would say to you, sir, whoever you are, I would say, sir, it might be a good place to start with a guy named Sutherland and a guy named, yes, sir, I'm not making this name up. What is the name, Teddy? Cheatham. I had people winning 11 rounds. All right, even if you said 10, you'd be kind of generous. But to have it that close, I mean, come on. And then the other fights you talked about, I mean, he's got a track record where the problem with him isn't just that he's so off and the numbers are so off. They're off for always the A fighter. That's the thing that puts a light on in my mind, that puts a danger light on, is that he's always, Canelo's the A guy, always, right? We know that. We don't have to dispute that. So it's not like he's on the side of the B guy. He's always on the side of the guy that the promoter would want to win. That's what bothers me.
But the problem isn't just one judge. Atlas believes the entire system is broken. In Las Vegas, boxing's capital, a small circle of judges controls nearly every major fight. There's little rotation, no fresh faces, just the same insiders time and time again. Atlas argues that this exclusivity creates a comfort zone where fairness is compromised. Promoters, commissions, and judges all know each other, working closely and blurring professional boundaries. In such an environment, objectivity becomes fragile. Atlas has long pushed for reform, rotating panels, greater accountability, and transparency in judging. But in the high-stakes world of boxing, where millions ride on every outcome, money often outweighs fairness, making meaningful change nearly impossible.
If you got the same officials all the time, which we're talking about, you do. I mean, just look, every time there's a big fight, you got the same guys for the most part. And again, I think that you can help a lot by rotating and getting new blood in there. And also geographically looking and saying, don't keep putting every time you put a fight in Vegas, don't put the same guys from there. Bring in guys from different locales. Mix it up a little bit, because you have these promoters that have a relationship and a familiarity where the judges are more prone to go towards them. Why? Why, Teddy? Why? Because they go out to dinner with them, they give money under the table. They do go out to dinner. I'm not saying they give money under the table. I'm not saying that. But they know that those are the guys that butter their bread.
So how did Terence Crawford overcome such stacked odds? Atlas says it's because Crawford is unlike any fighter he's ever seen. He isn't just naturally gifted. He has unmatched mental toughness. Atlas even uses a unique analogy. He calls Crawford digital. While most fighters are solid, relying on brute physicality, Crawford processes information like a supercomputer. He reads opponents in real time, anticipates their moves, and punishes their mistakes with clinical precision. But Crawford's resilience runs deeper than boxing. Years ago, he survived being shot, a traumatic experience that would have broken most people. For Crawford, it built unshakable strength. In his mind, nothing inside the ring could ever be as dangerous as what he had already lived through. That ice-cold mentality allowed him to face Canelo under immense pressure and still deliver a legendary performance, cementing his place among the sport's greats.
They tried to bury Terence Crawford. They tried to ruin his reputation and say that he wasn't a draw when the numbers were there for you to see. When he went to MSG against guys that didn't have big names or that were faded, like Amir Khan, or when he fought Kabiaskis, he did numbers. There was a smear campaign about his personality. He doesn't talk. Nobody wants to hear him. No, that you don't want to hear. So you try to speak for the masses when the whole time you have a star right here. You got to learn how to talk to this man. Even as recent as his last fight, the fight before Canelo, the smear campaign continued. I don't hear the smear campaign now. Them voices got really, really quiet like they typically do when they get proven wrong. And they either try to jump on the wagon, I knew this kid was gonna be that, or they get very, very quiet and they start to retreat back to wherever they came from and they don't have a lot to say. So I'm happy for this brother for that reason, because they tried to bury him, Roy. It didn't work. He overcame that. He said, give me my shot. I'm gonna show you. And he kept doing it time and time again, and he did it again against Canelo Alvarez Saturday night.